Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of A Coffee with Chris. As always, brought to you in association with our charity partner 𝗖𝗄𝗄𝗵, who help local people affected by cancer, and proudly sponsored by Hill Coaching Company, here to help you become a better version of yourself today. Now, speaking of today, let's welcome today's guest. I've dubbed him the 007 of commercial photography, Steve Wright. He takes photos your business needs, your clients love, and that turn your competitors, love this part, green with envy. Steve, welcome to A Coffee with Chris. Let's kick off with this question. Why do business owners need to invest in photography of their people?
I think, let's face it, most businesses are not just one person. They are a group of people, and it's those people that actually make the business work, be that, you know, in the office or on the shop floor. So capturing those people just really shows that you are taking the whole of your business seriously and you value your people. And it's not just some generic picture using. You actually taking a picture of Jim, who will send out your package. You were taking a picture of Sarah, who's actually on the telephone if you've got a complaint. And it just gives a more authentic feel to your business. So that's why businesses should be capturing their people and make them the stars. Because let's face it, they are.
You are out the traps fast, Steve. I love that. Thanks very much. And this wasn't a planned question, but I'm going to throw it at you. Something that's becoming more and more apparent in my world, certainly, is even the businesses that do invest in proper photography, your type of photography, they might be taking pictures of their people, but they might be using it as an excuse to not be front and center themselves. So what I'd like to ask you is, how important is it for business leaders to also feature within that photography, right, as the leader of the organization?
Great question. It's very easy to have us and them. Never the two shall meet, you know, directors and up there with the shop floor. A lot of the businesses I've photographed now, they like to get involved, and they need to, because, you know, for business, you need what's happening right from the top right to the bottom. If there's a problem, the people on the actual ground floor need to be able to speak, you know, freely to the management to say, look, this is this or this, or if they've got an idea. And I find that businesses that actually, you know, approach the business as a whole rather than an us and them situation, they look at it as a family, as a network of people actually all coming together to make their product, you know, sellable. I think that works really well, and it breaks down a lot of barriers that sometimes exists with, say, the staff or the workforce not being able to approach the management. You always hear it again and again when people say, "Oh yeah, I can go and speak to Jim. He's the CEO, and yeah, he knows my name, I know him." And already they're feeling very positive. They're feeling empowered because actually they know who they are rather than him down there. So yes, that's why I think it's very good nowadays that businesses literally do. You know, it's all about the team, all about everybody together rather than just individual people.
I agree, and it perfectly, you know, dovetails into that conversation. We actually had Luke Plain on, actually, from Fulfilled Talent, talking about employer brands and how it's really important to build and develop that, as to therefore obviously help your recruitment. And this is a key part of photography, right? It gives you that behind the scenes insight that you wouldn't necessarily get. Video does that too, but I think it's really important. And one of the issues that businesses face, and particularly in the world of social media marketing that many businesses face, Steve, is, and I'm sorry to swear in front of you, stock photography. What is your honest take on stock photography? And also, what can businesses do to sack off stock forever?
So first of all, stock photography is very good. You'd be surprised to hear me say it is very good. The trouble is, it's too good some of the times. I mean, you get these stock pictures of, I mean, the greatest one is there's a team of people around the boardroom that just found they've won that pitch, that big pitch, and they're all high-fiving each other, and the teeth are glistening and the shoots are sharp, and there's a fresh jug of orange juice on the table, and it looks oh so perfect. Nobody's blinking, everybody looks glowing. The picture is really good. The trouble comes where we all know that's not reality. Reality does not look like that. And the reason why I say to people, you know, make your business have its own portfolio of stock shots is because it just makes it more authentic. You can reproduce that picture, but actually it's going to be, you know, in your boardroom with your PG tips on the table or whatever, with somebody else not in a Armani suit. And it just looks far more authentic. And so that's how I actually look at stock photography. I use the ideas of stock photography because the ideas are really good, but they're just a bit too polished. And I like to put more of a realistic slant on that, and actually just tie in people from your business.
I'm so with you on that, Steve. I think that we're now, well, we're actually well deep into the world of consumers wanting something authentic, perhaps, dare I say, raw and actually unpolished. And so it's really interesting. And of course, AI, I'll chuck the AI bombshell in there as well. That must be really challenging in your world. So when it comes to, you know, going back to the question of, you know, sacking off stock photography forevermore, what are the actions here, Steve? I love the idea of creating almost your own business's stock photography folder, essentially. What types of stock should a business be building in order to get more bang from their professional photography buck?
Right, so I'm sure every photographer will agree they can take pictures till the cows come home. What slows the process down is, oh, what should we take next? Oh, I don't know. Shall we do something in, you know, packaging? What a company should do for me, this is what I ask a company to do, is write a list of what you want to talk about. You know, do you want to talk about, yeah, we've got a new coating line? Do you want to talk about, yeah, we actually have orders flying all over the world? Have the actual bullet points that you want to talk about. Portable toilet. Have the bullet points you want to talk about, all the things that make your business unique. And then when I've got that list, I will then shoot pictures to actually dovetail into your talking points, rather than a photographer taking loads of pictures and then the client actually think, well, how are we going to use this picture? To be fair, they all, you know, you can't, you know, a boardroom setting is fantastic to get great pictures because you get a group of 10 people sitting around the table there. And from that, you can get the wide shots, you can get the individual shots, you can get the little smiley shots. You can get a lot of photography for a short amount of time in there. This is, yeah. I think he wants to go to the toilet, actually. Yeah, you can get lots of different actual shots taken in that small little time. So that's what I would tell people to. And they can use stock shots. They can they can go and get a list of, you know, stock shots they like and tell the photographer, right, this is what I like. Can we do this?
Yeah, I think that's really, really good, Steve, actually. And one of the things that I think people are not using AI for, and particularly ChatGPT, is regardless of whether you've got ideas or you've not got ideas, prompt ChatGPT and say, provide me with a list of 25 different photography ideas for my business. And that will really spark the inspiration before they engage with someone like yourself. And Steve, we're now in this space where people are really understanding that terminology, personal brand. I've tried to shift it into, you know, becoming a key person of influence for your sector or perhaps a thought leader. I'm really intrigued to kind of extract from you how photography can change a business and people from a corporate robot into a superhuman. It's a really interesting time for that, isn't it?
Yeah. So personal brand is nothing new. I've been a photographer now for 38 years, and back then we used to call them portraits. Somehow along the line, they've actually morphed from a portrait and now it's personal brand. It's good because back then it was very much on a white background, looking serious at the camera, make sure the tie is all nice and firm. And now it's more relaxed and it's showing the person as they are. So when you actually are booking to say with a business coach, you're actually seeing a little bit more than just them and their classic headshots. The one thing for me that riles me a little bit with personal brand shoots is, again, they're falling into the trap of they all look too fantastic. They all look too great. They're set in lovely little calves, shooting through the window and getting a little glint of reflection there, and they're holding a cup of coffee, and oh, she's got a little pen. I mean, they're great pictures, but again, is that real? Is that authentic? I think it's great to have a set of images like that, which are your flagship pictures of you looking straight into the camera, looking $1 million or whatever. But then I think you need to add into that mix some more authentic pictures, which actually captures reality a little bit more. The thing is, if things look too polished, people switch off very quickly. They literally look at a picture, and in half a second, they've actually analysed that picture, and they've said, right, this is this is that, whatever. I believe it, I don't. And we all know that if pictures have lots of retouching on it, straight away you say, oh no, that doesn't look like me, or whatever. So yeah, so I'm thinking personal brand pictures are good. They tell a story, but I think they should try and expand it a bit more and just make it a little bit more relaxed. Because sometimes, like stock photography, they just look too perfect. And let's face it, none of us are perfect, even you, Chris.
Absolutely.
You're pretty close, though.
Thank you, I appreciate that. With this AI world that we're living in, right? And I think this is a really important point to discuss, Steve, is that we really need to unperfect ourselves, don't we? And present the real us. And I've seen it recently. There was this trend where people were asking AI to provide them with a LinkedIn profile picture, and the results were scarily good, but scarily robotic and formal and polished. And so that's not going to convey trust with your prospects. Yes, it makes you look professional, but that's only one element of what a photograph should do, as I'm sure you would agree, Steve. And I want to throw another challenging question at you, which might trigger you somewhat, Steve. What do you say to the people that say, nah, don't need a professional photographer, I'll just do it all on my iPhone? And what's the benefit of iPhoneography versus professional photography?
Well, my answer to that is yes, you can. You can take the pictures perfectly well on your iPhone. But I will qualify that with saying, go into your iPhone photos and just look at the last 50 pictures. And of those 50 pictures, how many of those would you actually share with the world? Because they might not be great. The introduction of iPhone into the scenario photography has been phenomenal. I mean, the biggest thing I would say with using your iPhone is, with a photographer, you book a photographer, right? He's coming a week next Thursday. He's going to be here for half a day. We've got to get all our pictures done in that time. Okay. The photographer will turn up and he will shoot some killer shots in that time, give you a library of images, and that is fantastic. But with an iPhone, you can get it when you're actually having that meeting with somebody. You can do it on the site visit. There's so many different ways of actually using the photography you take with your iPhone. All you need to do is actually learn how to take better pictures with your iPhone. There's lots of people out there. There's lots of YouTube courses that shows you. It is good to invest in that time. The one thing, though, that you probably will see is, even from a good iPhone photo to a professional photographer, it's probably going to be 10% maybe, if you've got a good iPhone picture. 10% difference between that and a professional, maybe a bit more. But it's that 10% that really pushes you over the line if you want to have a good set of images.
I completely testify to that, genuinely, and that might surprise people because obviously I'm in social media marketing. I'm using my iPhone all the time. I would probably say I am a bit of a dab hand regarding, using portrait mode, rule of 3, making sure things are in focus, etc. But even when it comes to, having a focused foreground and a blurred background, the iPhone doesn't quite get it right just yet. And regardless of that, I love what you've said, Steve, about the accountability of, we've got a pro snapper coming in. He's the 007 of commercial photography. And people then get prepared for it, don't they? Right. And I think that's an important element of it. And Steve, there are many business owners out there right now, and understandably so, they're struggling. And when it comes to photography, they're thinking, I have to put that on the back burner for now because it's perhaps too expensive, and they don't see it as an investment, etc. What's your response to that? And also, what would you recommend to businesses that are just getting started with investing in photography? What are perhaps your maybe 2 or 3 first steps for someone that is getting their first bank of images from you?
I've got a lot of steps, and I can give them. Okay, number one thing, if you're taking a picture of your staff, do not stand them against the wall. Most people stand them against the wall like they're going to be shot with a firing range. Do not stand them against the wall. Do not stand them underneath an overhead light, especially the ones that just shine down on them, because they get very much a beaky nose. That is a no-no. What they should be doing is finding a place in the office with some natural light, not too close to the background. If you can get some light behind the person, throwing into the background, but do not have a window directly behind the actual subject. If it's off to one side, it helps actually make the background slightly lighter and the person in the foreground slightly darker, so they stand out a little bit more. That is one of the tips. The next tip is, if your iPhone, let's just say, if it has a ×2 on it, use the longest lens you can, not the wide angle. Stand back further, it makes for a better picture. Tip number 3, take a photo, then look at the photo. Don't look at the person, look at the background. If anything in that background stands out, like a sign for exit over the door, like a waste paper bin, like a coffee cup sitting on the desk, anything that catches your eye, get rid of it. Because when you take a photo, you should actually be looking at the photo, and the only thing you should be looking at is what you, the photographer, wants the viewer to see, which is the person. The next thing is, a lot of it will just be like a portrait picture. Think how you're going to use the actual picture. And what is very good nowadays is people have a picture and then they could put a caption next to it. So instead of taking an upright portrait, shoot a landscape, as you say, Chris, put the person on the third, and on the rest of it, just put some blurry plain wall or something. So you're leaving a space to actually drop a little call to action on there. And that will actually then make your pictures far more usable. And also, do not go in as tight as you can. Make sure you pull back 10, 20% so you can crop that picture to fit what you're looking at to drop into on your website. And the other thing is, a lot of websites, they have these long, thin banner pictures at the top.
Yes.
They are the hardest ones to actually take to look good, because normally by the time you crop down a portrait, all you see is the eyes there. So if you have got a banner picture and you want to have some photos dropped into that, you then use your wide angle lens, and you are taking it into effect. So when you look on the back of the camera, on the back of your phone, you are actually chopping off the top and the bottom, and you're just taking that wide little bit in there to actually fit into the space, the banner you've got on your website. And if you shoot it for that, then that is much better than trying to, chop a picture to fit into something. So there's my tips. I mean, you can do it. Yeah, there we go.
No, that's brilliant, Steve. There's so much gold in that, and actually that's given people some tips that they can do themselves, which is incredibly selfless of you. It's very kind of you. When it comes to the professional photography side of things, what I would like you to talk about is the level of investment and budget, and how much can someone get, for example, out of a shoot with yourself, for example. How long would those photos last? How much can you? Because going back to your response to your previous point there, Steve, is you mentioned, essentially what you mentioned is you're taking imagery with a social first mindset, because you're thinking about captions and call to actions and positive space, which is a fluffy term, but it's important to think about. How much can people get out of their buck that they're investing in you, for example? Because I think there's this perception that photography is just absolutely extortionate and people just can't afford it, but that's not the case, right?
So for all your business owners out there who've been in business for the last, say, 20 plus years, I've been around for nearly 4 decades. When I started, I used to shoot on medium format, 12 images, a roll of film. How many images do you want? You can either have 12, 24, 36. It was literally like that. They'd take the picture, they'd scan them in, and they'd put them into a folder on their desktop. And that folder would be marked as, marketing pictures. And there it would sit for, I don't know, 4, 5, 8, 10 years, and they still be using the same pictures 10 years on from what they use, nowadays. That was back then in the dark ages of, the 80s, 90s. Now, social media has changed so much. We just gobble up images and everything, and you need to have plenty of images to put in there. The big change for me came when I went from film over to digital. Because of that, it meant I could take a lot more pictures. And now on a typical shoot, I could take anywhere between 300 and 1,000 photos.
Wow.
That is down to the client being very organized and saying, right, we need this, we need that. And look, they can push me as hard as they like, because I'll just keep on taking pictures. So when I do like universities and colleges, I go in there and say, right, I need 20 minutes in each class. This would work for a business as well, but I need 20 minutes in each class. And in there, I will get you some landscape shots, some portrait shots. I'll get some wide shots. I'll get some pictures showing the classroom. I'll get some pictures showing the teacher. I'll get some generic pictures that don't have any faces in, but might have the back of a hand or something.
Yes.
So from that 20 minutes, I will get you probably 20 different type of pictures.
Wow.
And of those 20 pictures, I will get 2 or 3 versions of that. So I'll force the depth of field, whatever, just to get a little different take on it. So suddenly, from 20 years ago, you'd have paid £400, let's just say, for a day's shoot, and for that you would have got, say, 40 pictures. Okay, so each picture is £10, let's just say. But now for a shoot, yes, the day's photography might be anywhere from £750 to £1,000, whatever for a day's shoot. But you're now getting 1,000 photos, and the other bugbear is, what I really have is that I give people 500 pictures. They go through them, they pick out their top 20. Oh yeah, like that one, and this is their little folder with their top really A+ pictures. They put that onto their desktop and they say, right, these are pictures for the next 5 weeks, whatever. And they leave all that gold. They leave all that gold in there. If you're putting out a post, maybe you want a different variation of it. And you just do need to keep mixing it up. And you can crop it differently. All the pictures a photographer will give you will be high quality of a good DPI. So they can crop them in really tight. So from a wide landscape, you can just zoom in and crop in somebody's head. So suddenly you've got 2 pictures from there. You've got the wide one, you've got a tight one. There's so much you can actually do with it. And that is also down to the marketing person for the company. If they know what they're doing, they will just use those images in so many different ways. They can put them in carousels. They can just, So good quality professional photography is not cheap, it is expensive. But then when you divide that into how many images you're getting, and also of those, if I give you 500 pictures, I could have shot 1,500. So I've already chopped away all the chaff to give you just the pure gold. So that is what good photography does. It just gives you a plethora of pictures that you can use for so many different things. And I just come back to saying, sorry, because I talk a lot. The come back to saying is, like anything, the more planning the company puts into the list of images they want, the more they'll get out of the photo shoot. If all they say is, we've got a check presentation, can you come and take a picture of it? And you say, right, I'm going to be an hour, that's going to cost you 250 quid, and here is 4 pictures of you handing over a big check. Wow, they're going to divide that into, well, that was expensive. But if you say, right, we've got a check presentation, but can we do a set of portraits? Can we actually take a picture of the new office furniture? Can we do this? Suddenly, that has now generated more pictures. And so there we go.
No, I think it was a brilliant ramble speech.
I like the ramble.
No, Steve, it was great. I really want businesses to get into that mindset and thinking about investing in it. And let's just take that number. I mean, you'd said between 300 to 1,000. Let's maybe call it 500 or 600 images. From a social media manager's perspective, I could drag out comfortably 2 or 3 months worth of content out of that, at least. And that's me under-egging it, right? So I think businesses need to get into this mindset of getting clever with their commercial photography And
Yeah.
even if you're starting out, this is my point, Steve, they should invest in someone like you to really boost their brand, particularly going into 2025, where, of course, you need your people front and center more than ever before. And Steve, I want to finish this conversation today with something maybe a little bit more commercial, a bit more sales, which is, what are the photos, in your opinion, that sell more products and services? What's your take on that?
So, I mean, products and services, I mean, I very much, I keep banging on. I've been a photographer a long time now, back in the 80s. I've photographed lots of things over that time. But the one thing now that I feel is my forte is actually photographing people. And I feel that even if, I mean, one of my big clients is Pret, and even though they are selling a cup of coffee, I don't go in there and photograph 15 different cups of coffees. I photograph the people that are actually making that coffee, the people that are taking the money over the counter. And it is that personality of them. It's that vibe. It's that, again, harking back to authenticity. I'm showing that the process of when you go in to buy a coffee, you're not actually buying a coffee. Well, you are. Okay. But actually, you're going into Pret because you really love Pret. You like the vibe, the place, you like the decor of it. And that is the way I feel that for me personally, for businesses, if businesses have people, unless you literally are a one-man band, they wouldn't survive, they couldn't function. You do need, however big the business is, it's people that actually makes that business profitable, viable, that keep it, running each day. And because of that, there is literally hundreds of stories to talk about it, because we're not just talking about one person, or we're not just talking about one thing. We are saying, right, we need to come out with 10 stories this month about our business. We can't just go on, oh, we sell boxes. So then we want to go, hey, it's Jim, he actually picks up the boxes and delivers them to you. Here is Sally, she's on the phone taking your orders, and it's actually it's all talking about the same subject. We are selling boxes, this is what we do.
Yes.
And it is repeating that dialogue in a little different way each time. And the way you can do that is, don't take 15 pictures of boxes. Take 15 pictures of people connected to that box, and then tell about their story, and that will help actually sell it all. Because nobody's going to buy a box from you just from, unless it's price based, probably from one single picture. A lot of companies, they work on, people looking, oh yeah, I've seen that. Oh yeah, oh I quite like that. Oh, I quite like that. And it's a build up. They say 8 touch points before you actually make a purchase, something like that. So it is getting these different little price points in, or these little points in there that really helps to cement your business for what it is. And so many businesses are people based. I think that is what it is. So yeah. Another little rambling one there.
No, good. Real platinum advice, that, Steve, actually. And within that, I think the real winner there is for business owners, marketing managers, social media managers to think about the story behind the product, behind the service. I mean, even for someone like myself, I mean, I could have 1,000,001 pictures of me on a laptop, right? But what about how I think and feel and talk in a face-to-face meeting, or on an online call, or in a public speaking event? And these are all of the things that demonstrate to people that I'm trustworthy and they're happy to do business with me. So I think that's a good place to end things, Steve. Take pictures of your business story in order to sell more products and services. And Steve, where can people find you? Where can people do business with you?
So Steve Wright Photography, you can find me there. I do LinkedIn. I'm quite active on LinkedIn. I've got a little series called Shoot the Shooter, where I go out and talk to other photographers just about these things. If you do want to hire me as Bond, just type into Google Daniel Craig lookalike, and whoever comes at the top, that's me. Or if anyone wants to actually chat about oh, Steve, can't afford any photography, but here's 6 pictures I took. What do you think of them on my phone? I'm happy to critique them like 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗶𝘀. And I'll be truthful, but just say, right, okay, for this, actually, just move this there, do that there, give little tips, because it's all about, just helping people. That's the thing. The other thing is, anybody who is taking a picture of their workforce, Do not tell them, I'm going to take your picture. Ask them, is it okay if I can take your picture? And when the photographer is taking a picture, all they got to do is smile. Because if the photographer is smiling, 9 times out of 10, the person who's being photographed is going to smile as well. So there we go. That's a little thing.
No, I love that. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you coming on.
No problem at all. It's been great.
And thank you so much to everyone watching live or watching or listening back. Really appreciate your support of the Coffee with Chris podcast. Please do like and subscribe on YouTube, and let us know your feedback on social media. We are at Reeve Social, and as Steve has very selflessly and kindly said, do feel free to reach out with him with any questions on your commercial photography. He is the man in this world. As always, a massive thank you to Big C, our official charity partner who helps people affected by cancer locally in Norfolk and Waveney, and also our sponsor, Hill Coaching Company. I'll see you this time next week for another episode of A Coffee with Chris.